Chapter 16. What Happened After. What became of Emma Edmonds after the Great Civil War ended? Government records and pension files offer some answers. For a time, she kept on with her nursing work. She also sat down and wrote her memoirs, describing some of her adventures as Private Thompson. In all, Emma spent 2 years as a man in the Union Army and made 11 different trips behind rebel lines. On those spy missions, she used various disguises, but her favorite was always the spunky little black slave named Cuff. Her story came out soon after the end of hostilities. Titled Nurse and Spy in the Union Army, her book proved a big success and sold thousands of copies. Emma donated her share of the profits to U.S. war relief. The tale is hard to read because it is written in the fancy, flowery style popular in those days, but the reasons for what Emma Edmonds did are simple and clear. On the first page, she says, "It was not my intention or desire to seek my own personal ease and comfort while so much sorrow and distress filled the land. But the great question to be decided was, what can I do? What part can I myself play in this great drama?" Morals in the 19th century America were prim and proper, and some people thought Emma's actions were shocking. But the publisher W. S. Williams of Hartford, Connecticut, added a gallant note of defense. "Should any of her readers object to some of her disguises, it may be sufficient to remind them it was from the purest motives and most praiseworthy patriotism that she laid aside for a time her own costume and assumed that of the opposite sex, enduring hardships, suffering untold privations, and hazarding her life for her adopted country in its trying hour of need." The little volume came out over 120 years ago. It has long since disappeared from our bookshelves and libraries, but surprisingly, a few ancient copies still exist. Their bindings are falling apart, the pages are torn and brown with age, yet Emma's adventures are as fresh and as exciting as any tale of modern courage. After finishing her writing, Emma grew homesick and went back to visit St. John, Canada. There she met Linus Seeley, an old friend from her childhood days. A romance soon began, and in 1867 Emma and Linus returned to the United States to be married in Cleveland, Ohio. Linus was a mechanic, and the Seeleys traveled a lot in connection with his work. They went from Ohio to Michigan to Illinois, finally settling in Fort Scott, Kansas. The couple had 3 sons, one of whom later joined the U.S. Army, just like Mama did. But Emma never fully recovered from her malaria, which she apparently first caught in the Chickahominy swamps. Her health slowly grew worse. She also began to brood about the shame of being branded as a deserter. Considering all she'd been through, she felt it a cruel, unfair label. She got in touch with officers from her old regiment and asked for their help. Encouraged by them, Emma petitioned the War Department for a full review of her case. She asked to have her military rights restored, including any back pay, plus an honorable discharge. The matter was debated in Washington, D.C., and on July 5, 1884, a special act of Congress granted everything she asked for. Emma was awarded an honorable discharge, plus a bonus and a veteran's pension of $12 per month. By now, Mrs. Seeley had made contact with a number of old Army friends, including the Butlers. She kept in touch with them all and attended some of the regimental reunions. Most of her fellow troopers were, of course, amazed to learn that this plump matron lady in her fancy bonnet and long skirts was none other than their slim, cool-eyed war buddy, Frank Thompson. In 1891, Emma's son Frederick was married and moved to the town of LaPorte, Texas. Emma and Linus soon joined the young couple there. They liked the southern climate and stayed in LaPorte until Emma's death on September 5, 1898. Today, her simple grave is in the military section of Washington Cemetery in Houston, Texas. After the war, a group of civilian war veterans who had seen action in the Union forces formed a society called the Grand Army of the Republic. The GAR became powerful and important in American life and had a huge enrollment of over 400,000 ex-soldiers. The only female member of this honored group was Emma Edmonds.